we like animals in the zoo where they are observed like even when they poop, So okay, that was exaggerating, obviously, but it would be nice to have some privacy. Like, we're tennis players, we're meant to be watched on the court, So, and in the press, like, that's our job. It's not our job to, like be a meme when you forget your accreditation, and oh, it's funny, yeah, for sure. Like, people have something to talk about, but for us, like, I don't.
Iga Swiatek just stunned the media by publicly backing Coco Gauff's stance on privacy. And listen, this was not some soft, polite tennis press moment. Iga took it all the way there, responding to reporters with a sharp, no-nonsense tone. The usually calm and composed Polish star completely snapped back, and honestly, the media had it coming. Iga made it clear that WTA athletes are not animals. They're expected to perform, compete, and deliver on court, but they're also entitled to a basic level of privacy. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She didn't smile and brush it off. She made it painfully clear that these elite athletes are human beings who deserve dignity, respect, and boundaries, something the media seems to forget in their non-stop chase for clicks and controversy. What we're watching right now is rare. Iga is taking a firm public stand alongside Coco against the media and their repeated violations of athletes. This isn't about one moment. This isn't about one player. This is about a systemic issue that's been rotting professional tennis and sports overall for way too long. Iga is going all the way in on the media, and she's absolutely right, because what happened to Coco Gauff was not okay. It was a violation, it was exploitation, and it's exactly the type of behavior that needs to be checked by someone with Iga's level of platform and influence. So let's break down what actually went down. Coco Gauff had her privacy completely breached when media outlets aired footage of her smashing rackets. After her heartbreaking quarterfinal loss at the Australian Open, Coco was in a private practice area, an area that's supposed to be off-limits to cameras and press. This is the space athletes go to decompress, to release emotions, to just be human without the world watching. But somebody decided that boundaries mattered less than a viral clip. They filmed Coco in what should have been a protected space, showing her frustration, smashing rackets. Then they broadcast it to the entire world. Sit with that for a second. Imagine having the worst day of your professional life, stepping away to a private area to process it, only to find out someone secretly recorded you and shared it with millions, without your consent. Coco made it clear to the media that she's reviewing the situation and may pursue legal action. And honestly, good for her. Coco Gauff is going full force at the broadcasters. And when I say full force, I mean she's reportedly preparing a $30 million lawsuit that could permanently shift the power dynamic. This isn't about a quick apology. This isn't about a headline. This is about setting a legal precedent that protects athletes for years to come. $30 million. Let that sink in. That's the value Coco is placing on her privacy, her dignity, and the basic human right to have moments that aren't packaged, sold, and exploited for profit.
I tried to go somewhere where they wouldn't broadcast it, but obviously they did. So yeah, maybe some conversations we can be had, because I feel like at this tournament, the only private place we have is the locker room. I feel like certain moments, the same thing happened to Irina after I played her final US Open. I feel like they don't need to broadcast. I tried to go somewhere where I thought there wasn't a camera, because I don't necessarily like breaking rackets, but I lost 1 and 2. I broke 1 racket on quarters.
So what lit the fuse on this massive legal showdown? Well, it all traces back to Coco's crushing loss in the Australian Open quarterfinals. She was heartbroken. She was frustrated. She had just dropped a match she desperately wanted on one of the biggest stages in all of tennis. And like any real competitor, she needed a moment to process that loss away from the cameras. But she never got that grace. Instead, her private frustration got turned into public entertainment. And this is where Iga really understood the assignment. Coco wasn't just doing this for herself. That's what makes this situation hit even harder. Iga immediately recognized that Coco's fight goes way beyond a personal grievance. She was standing up for others too. Coco specifically pointed out that Sabalenka was wronged when the media pulled the same stunt on her. And if you remember that moment, it was brutal. Irina caught a massive wave of hate over footage that was broadcast without context, without consent, and without any regard for her humanity. Let's be real about what happened to Irina. She was caught in a private moment, expressing frustration, something every athlete does behind closed doors. But because it was filmed and pushed out with zero context, people who've never stepped foot on a professional tennis court suddenly felt entitled to judge her character off a 15-second clip. Irina didn't do anything wrong. She was just being human, venting in what should have been a protected space. But once that footage aired, she became a target. Online hate, criticism, judgment, all from people who had no clue about the pressure these athletes live under. The internet can be absolutely vicious. Keyboard warriors who've never competed in anything suddenly turned into experts on sportsmanship and professionalism. They tore Irina apart. They questioned her character, they called her names, all because someone violated her privacy and blasted a moment that was never meant for public consumption. And this right here is why Coco's fight matters. This is exactly why Iga is riding with her. Because if a line isn't drawn now, this behavior only gets worse. And they're not fighting this alone. Experts from across the sports world are lining up in support of Coco's stance. Sports psychologists, legal experts, former athletes, media analysts, all saying the same thing. This has to stop. Sports psychologists are breaking down the insane mental toll of performing at the highest level. They're stressing how important it is for athletes to have safe spaces to process emotions without public scrutiny. They're making it clear these private moments are essential for mental health and peak performance. Legal experts are also weighing in. They're talking about consent laws, journalistic boundaries, and where the line between public interest and personal privacy should actually be drawn. Many believe Coco has a strong case, and they're saying this lawsuit could set major legal precedents for athlete privacy rights. Former athletes who've lived this nightmare are sharing their own stories. They're talking about being caught on camera during their lowest moments, about the footage that followed them for years. They're backing Coco's courage in pushing back against a system that treats athletes like content instead of people. And the message from all of them is crystal clear. Athletes are human beings, not robots programmed to perform flawlessly and smile through everything. They have emotions, they have breaking points, and sometimes things spill over. That's not a character flaw, that's being human.
Think of your worst moments. The times you lost your temper, the times you cried, the times you said or did something you later regretted. Now imagine if someone recorded that and blasted it to millions. How would that feel? How would you react? Professional athletes sacrifice their entire lives to reach this level. Relationships, education, normal childhoods, everything. Yes, media attention comes with the territory, they know that. But there's a massive difference between covering a match, doing an interview, or filming a press conference and invading private spaces to capture raw pain. What Iga and Coco are fighting for goes way beyond tennis. This is about setting boundaries in an era where privacy is disappearing. This is about pushing back on a media culture that values clicks over human dignity. This is about reminding everyone that athletes are not just entertainment products. They are people with feelings, rights, and limits that deserve respect. The media has gotten away with this for years because athletes were scared to speak up, scared of being labeled difficult, scared of hurting relationships with outlets that control their public image. But Coco Gauff is saying enough, and Iga is amplifying that message with her own powerful voice. This moment could be a turning point. This could be when the sports world finally admits that athlete privacy matters. This could be when media outlets realize there are consequences for crossing ethical lines. This could be when other athletes find the courage to speak up after being violated. And whether Coco's lawsuit wins or not, she's already won in one major way. She started a conversation that had to happen. She exposed practices that lived in the shadows for far too long. And with Iga beside her, experts backing her, and fans rallying behind her, she's proving that change is possible. The media might already be feeling instant regret for pushing athletes too far. But regret isn't enough. It has to turn into action. Better policies, clearer boundaries, real respect for the humans behind the headlines. So what do you think? Should athletes have stronger privacy protections? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.